Hi, I'm Jacob Hornberger, president of the Future of Freedom Foundation. I'm coming to you here on Giving Tuesday to seek your generous financial support of the Future of Freedom Foundation. As you all know, for 33 years, we have been presenting the principled, uncompromising case for the libertarian philosophy. That case is more important than ever. These people in Washington are taking our country down. They're taking it down from within. You've got out-of-control federal spending. You've got out-of-control federal debt, $31 trillion now and running. And then you've got the constant monetary debauchery, the destruction of our monetary system. Oh, they say that inflation is due to big businesses and big oil, and that all they need to do is enact an Inflation Reduction Act where they're calling for more IRS agents to seize people's income or raising interest rates. What they never bother to explain is why it is that the purchasing power of the dollar has plummeted decade after decade after decade ever since the Federal Reserve was established in 1913. And especially after the Franklin Roosevelt administration abandoned the finest monetary system in history without even the semblance of a constitutional amendment. They don't want to ever talk about that. But what we're talking about here is a defective system. It's not enough to say, well, we just need to get better people in public office. That's the problem here. You just get better people in public office. That's not the case. Because when you've got a defective system, inherently defective system, it doesn't matter who's managing the system. That the only way you can resolve a problem dealing with an inherently defective system is to replace the system with a sound system. So the second greatest mistake Americans ever made was the adoption of a welfare state way of life. That took place in the 1930s, in which they abandoned really the finest economic system in history. If you take, for example, the period of time from say 1870 to around 1915, this provides us with a guideline as to what we need to do to get this country back on the right track. This was the most incredible period in history. You've got, for example, no income tax, no Social Security, no Medicare, no drug war, no immigration controls, no Federal Reserve, no public schooling, no economic regulations to speak of, no minimum wage laws. It was an incredibly different period in all of history. And the result was the most prosperous and the most charitable nation that mankind has ever seen. Was it a libertarian panacea? Of course not. There's no such thing as a panacea. But that provides us with a baseline as to what we can accomplish here in our time. And the abandonment of that system with the adoption of the Federal Reserve and the income tax, and then the adoption of the entire welfare state way of life where government became the caretaker for the American people has proven to be an absolute disaster. I mean, when we're talking about the welfare state, what are we talking about? We're really talking about a war. It's a war between citizens. Oh, everybody's very nice to each other and very cordial and very courteous and then go to church on Sunday and all. But the fact is that there are people that are waging war to get money seized through the IRS from other people in order to use that money to better their own condition. And so there's constant wars, intergenerational wars, interclass wars, where people are waging war against the income of other people. But the biggest mistake this country ever made was converting the federal government from a limited government republic to what we call a national security state. A limited government republic was one of the most remarkable achievements in history. There was just a small basic military force. Government's powers were limited. And the result, again, was this hugely prosperous and charitable society and a harmonious society. That all changes with the conversion to a national security state in the late 1940s with the adoption of the Pentagon, massive military-industrial complex, empire of domestic and foreign military bases, the CIA with its omnipotent powers of assassination and torture and indefinite detention, the NSA with its omnipotent powers of secret surveillance. Everything changes. This is a totalitarian type of governmental structure. And in fact, if you really analyze this thing carefully, it's the Pentagon and the CIA and the NSA that are in charge. They're in charge of what's going on. They're the ones that have ginned up this crisis in Ukraine, that with their machinations with NATO, this old Cold War dinosaur that should have gone out of existence when the Cold War supposedly ended. They're the ones that are getting us perilously close to nuclear war. And so what's the purpose of the welfare state? It's to keep everybody pacified so that nobody objects to what the Pentagon, the CIA, and the NSA are doing. That they're in charge and, we can't object because they might cut off our dole over here. I mean, that's the whole idea here, is that the national security state runs the show and keeps everybody pacified over here with the welfare state. This is not a sustainable system. There's a reason why this is a totally dysfunctional system, and it's because of this welfare state, warfare state way of life, including the drug war. That if you look at, for example, the number of mass killings in this country, they're essentially on a daily basis. If you define mass killing as 2 or more people, they've just become a regular feature of American life. What better manifestation that this country's going down than that type of thing? And that's the results of this dysfunctional, immoral, welfare, warfare state way of life. So our American ancestors gave us the guideposts as to what we need to do. Sometimes people say to me, well, Jacob, this is not achievable. That's nonsense. Anything's achievable. No matter how dark things may be, no matter how bad the direction is, no matter how closer they keep getting to taking our country down. There's a reason why those Chinese dictators right now are trying to shut down those protests. It's because they understand the power of ideas to sweep across a country, grabbing the hearts and minds of an aroused citizenry, and then having the potential to bring down the entire regime and change systems, as Jefferson said in the Declaration, the ability to alter or abolish government and restore government to its rightful role of protecting, not destroying, the rights and liberties of the people. So this is what we want to continue doing in the year ahead. You've kept us going for 33 years with this principled and compromising message, and I hope you will continue doing so today on Giving Tuesday.